the regularly scheduled meeting of the Council of Thames Centre. We're located in the council chambers of the municipality at 4305 Hamilton Road in the village of Dorchester. The date is Monday, March the 6th, and the time is 5 p.m. And I'd like to call this meeting to order. At the moment, there are no additions to the agenda that I am aware of. And any disclosures of pecuniary interest. Councillor Crockett.
I, Chantel Crockett, hereby make a declaration of pecuniary interest with respect to agenda item 11.2, item title bylaw 23-2023 regarding 3831 Elgin Road on the council agenda dated March 6th, 2023. This is a continuation from the February 27th meeting as I reside within the notification area of the rezoning amendment.
Thank you. Seeing no others, we can move on. I do have a couple of announcements though before we get going. And one is just to remind everyone that there's an upcoming closure of the municipal office due to some infrastructure work out in the front for Thursday, March the 16th, and it will be for the entire day. The Public Works Department have scheduled the installation of 3 water main valves, which requires the water to be shut off from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. Okay. And the second thing is we're happy to say actually that we're going to have our first meeting in Thorndale at the community center there. And that date is April the 12th. And that's at the Thorndale Lions Community Center at 265 Upper Queen Street in Thorndale, and it'll be the regular start time at 5 o'clock. Okay, moving on then to the consent agenda, item number 5. Items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and may require discussion, but no action on the part of council. Consent items are received for information in one motion. Council members may request that one or more item be removed for further action. We have a recommended motion in front of us that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on February 27th, 2023 be approved as circulated, and that consent agenda items 5.2 through 5.7 be received as information. Do I have someone who would like to move that motion? Deputy Mayor Smyber, seconded by Councillor Crockett. All in favor? Motion carried. Tom, are you on? Okay, alrighty. I just see your lovely little mug shot there. I don't see. Okay. All righty. Thank you. All right. That motion is carried then. Okay. So item number 6, reports of departments. 6.1 CS-005-23 volunteer appreciation event. Steve?
Thank you. Through you, your worship. Council has this report before you. It's with regards to hosting our annual volunteer appreciation breakfast, which is normally attempted to be held during National Volunteer Week, which is the week of April 16th to 22nd this year. And we're proposing to host on April the 18th, the Tuesday, from 7:30 to 9 o'clock a.m. is our standard time that we do it. This will be the 14th year that we host such an event, with a change this year, holding it in Thorndale due to the upcoming expansion in Dorchester, and as well just to give Thorndale the opportunity to host.
Excellent. Do we have anybody who would like to move the motion that council hosts the annual volunteer appreciation event by offering a drop-in breakfast to be served by council from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Tuesday, April the 18th, 2023, in the auditorium at the Thorndale Lions Community Center. Moved by Councillor Lockie, seconded by Deputy Mayor Smiber. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks, Tom. We were just about to ask you. Okay. So that motion's carried then. The next one is item number 6.2, PWES 004-23, Blue Box Transition Update.
Thank you, Worship. Before you is Council Report PWES 004-23, Blue Box Transition Update. This report is just basically to update Council on the progress, I guess, of the Blue Box program. In the report there, as it says, we are currently negotiating with a third-party circular materials with a master servicing agreement. We've contacted our lawyers and their lawyers back and forth, and we'll be bringing that agreement forward in hopefully the April meeting here for execution.
Does anyone have any questions of Jared before we move on? Okay, so the motion then is that report number PWES-004-23 be received for information, and that council direct the Director of Public Works to finalize a master services agreement with Circular Materials Ontario for the collection of blue box materials and related services until December 31st of 2025. Do I have someone who would win? Deputy Mayor Smibert, and seconded by Councillor Crockett. All in favor? Tom, are you?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor? Okay. Motion's carried. Thank you. All right. Number 6.3, PWDR 003-23, the Risdon Drain Culvert 2022 Court of Revisions appointment. Okay, Travis?
Thank you, Your Worship. Purpose of this report is to have council elect one member to sit on a Court of Revisions meeting inside the municipality of Middlesex Center. Report has been presented, which is initiated inside of Middlesex Center. However, it does impact Thames Center's residents, and I can help answer any questions you might have for that.
Okay. Any questions from anyone in council? So you're looking for a member, someone to volunteer for council to
Volunteer would probably be the best way to go. I would suggest
volunteer or
that. Yes.
voluntold? One or the other. Okay. Does anyone wish to volunteer to sit on the Court of Revision?
I would volunteer, seeing as it's borders my ward.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Tom. Okay. And that's moved by Deputy Mayor Smibert and seconded by Councillor Lockie. I assume everyone's in favor of this one. Okay, thank you. Okay, so then we're moving on to the motion that one member of council be appointed to sit as a member of the Court of Revision being held on April the 5th, 23, to represent the municipality of Thames Centre for the effective landowners assessed under the Risdon Drain Culvert. And I believe we've already dealt with that. So all is good. Thank you. That was easy, wasn't it? Okay. The next one then is the PWDR 004-23 Cassidy petition, request for drainage works.
Yes, Your Worship. A couple of weeks ago, we received a request to create a new drainage works to service a area which is developing on Donnybrook Drive. This is an industrial subdivision. This petition would provide a legal outlet to all the lots that are being proposed at this point in time. And after that petition is in effect, these lots would then have a legal serviced outlet to take their stormwater and discharge it to the drain in a proper fashion. I can help answer any questions you might have.
Any questions from anyone from council? Deputy Mayor Smiber?
Just had a question in terms of consultants that we use. Do we typically go to Spreets on every drainage matter, or does that get moved around, or depending on the amount of work that Spreets have?
We have been typically using Spreet Associates for a lot of the drainage projects I've been involved in. I think for reasons of proximity as well as cost also typically drive this. So we have had other, Dietrich Engineering has done a few projects as well in my time here.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Oh, Councillor Crockett?
Through your worship, so would I guess you won't actually know this until it's properly assessed, but will the construction of this drain, if it's deemed appropriate, cause any issue to the new road on Donnybrook that was just put in? Or will it be offset onto the lands provided? Do you know?
Yeah, through you, your worship. So the drainage pipe that runs under Donnybrook currently will be utilized in this project. So the work upstream of that is taking place. So this pipe is to give everybody an outlet, but when these lots begin to develop, we'll also require some stormwater management. This report will actually outline exactly how much allowable capacity to this new pipe is. So it'll show these sites how much stormwater they're allowed to put into this pipe. That will be something on staff to ensure that when these sites start getting developed, that they're holding it and we're keeping them to that rate of flow that's outlined in this report. So to answer your question, no, the road should not be negatively impacted because of these factors.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, then the motion is that report number PWDR 004-23 of the Drainage Superintendent dated March the 6th, 2023, concerning a request received by Jenna and Matt Cassidy for a request for new drainage works be received for information, and that the petition submitted by Jenna and Matt Cassidy under Section 4 of the Drainage Act, RSO 1990, for new drainage works in relation to property located at Concession 1, SRT, south of the River Thames, part lot 24, our plan number RP33R21029, parts 8 and 9, the former township of North Dorchester, be received and adopted, and that Mr. M.P. DeVos of Spreet Associates be appointed the engineer to investigate and prepare the necessary drainage report. Councillor Crockett to move the motion, seconded by Deputy Mayor Smibert. All in favor? Tom?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. All right, thank you. Motion carried. Thanks, Travis. I have a report of activities for the past little while. It's a little bit long, but I'll try to get through it as quickly as possible. The last few weeks have been really busy since the last report. On February the 14th, the Deputy Mayor and I attended a visioning session during the morning at the County of Middlesex building, followed by our regular and very full council agenda. Later in the week, the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Lockie, and I were present for the meeting of the local school board advisory, facilitated largely by Trustee Arlene Morel, with input from our Director of Planning, Mark Bancroft, providing the committee with a very complete report of activities currently and in the future for our schools in our area. This was followed this past Friday by, it was actually done virtually due to weather, a continuation of school board activities, presentations, and opportunities for members from around the county, an opportunity to speak and ask questions. On Saturday morning, the 18th of February, I attended a virtual meeting of women interested in political endeavors in the area, followed that evening by dinner and play at the Thorndale Community Center. It's a great event and so many people from around the area were in attendance, proof that we all want some socializing and fun in our lives following the restrictions of the pandemic. I offer my kudos to all the people who put on a really delicious roast beef dinner, to the organizers, all the actors and directors, and I hope that this is something that we can continue in the future, because it really was a good, there was a terrific turnout. On the 22nd, as a member of the Kettle Creek Conservation Authority Board, I attended their AGM at KCC headquarters on Ferguson Line. Friday, the 24th of February, brought a meeting with our MP, Karen Vecchio, her executive assistant, Jill Ferguson, along with Deputy Mayor Michelle Smybert, Jared Craven, Kim Grogan, Mark Brandcraft, and I for a wide-ranging discussion on issues for the municipality, not the least of which concerned the riding boundary changes that will affect Thames Centre in the next federal and likely the next provincial election. And I say that because there's a high likelihood that we will have a change in representation. On the 25th of February, fellow board member Jim Maudsley and I attended the 100th anniversary of the celebration at Glencoe Library. This past Thursday, Deputy Mayor Smybert, Councillors Lockie and Heeman, and I had the privilege of being invited to tour the Armitech facility in Dorchester and had a chance to learn more about the business, their successes, and some of the issues facing them. Going out and meeting business owners in the municipality is something that we as a council want to continue. It's important for us to understand more about business activities in our area, how their businesses are doing since the pandemic, and what their needs are. This coming week, the Deputy Mayor and I have been invited to tour the London International Airport and meet with CFO Chris Ryan. And on Wednesday, which is International Women's Day, I've been invited to speak and meet the residents of Dorchester Terrace. So I will be doing that in the afternoon. So that's it for my report. Thank you. Okay. I don't believe there's any other new business that is being directed. So we'll move on to item number 11, which concerns the bylaw. First, we will deal with item number 11.2, being bylaw 2023-2023, being a bylaw for a zoning bylaw amendment as it relates to lands located at 3831 Elgin Road. So the recommended motion is that be adopted as presented. Deputy Mayor Smybert, seconded by Councillor Heeman, who is now in person. All in favor? Okay, motion carried. Thanks. That then, unless there's any other discussion, we have the motion in front of us that bylaws 22-2023 through 26-2023 be adopted as presented. Councillor Lockie.
Okay. I was wondering if we could bring bylaw 11-3 up for discussion. So I had some conversations with Director Bancroft today regarding some concerns and back to, the discussion that we had at the last meeting. So I think it's maybe relevant for us to kind of, verse the council on our discussions.
Through your worship, so the concerns that Councillor Lockie raised with me, as I understand it, had to do with the potential for objectors to minor zoning bylaw amendments in the case of delegation of adjudicating those types of applications to staff. Through the proposed amendment, which is before council for consideration through that bylaw 24-2023, I think it's important to note that in terms of the delegation aspects, there's two steps. The first step would be in terms of introducing that policy direction to the official plan. So once adopted and approved, then the next step would be for council to consider the passing of a delegation bylaw. In my opinion, your worship, the concerns raised by Councillor Lockie are valid and are more appropriately addressed through the delegation bylaw. Simply put, in the event of there being objections to a minor zoning bylaw amendment, there could be a section added to the delegation bylaw which speaks to the matter then being required to go before municipal council for consideration of approval. So, thank you.
Good. And in speaking to to Ms. Michael, the clerk, it's my understanding we'll send that delegation bylaw out to members of council.
Yes, that's correct. What will happen is it will appear on the an upcoming council agenda where council can consider and place parameters around that new delegation.
Okay, does that answer questions?
Yes, your worship.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Mr. Bancroft. Are there any other questions that council has to ask? Okay, Councillor Heeman?
Yeah, I was just wondering, my assumption is that this would speed up the timeline for amendments and decisions for minor variances. And I was wondering if Director Bancroft could just explain how that might occur. Like, is it, you would be able to undertake the committee establishment or without having to consider the council's schedule and being able to do it quicker as a result?
Through your worship, through this new tool under the Planning Act, it is meant to only deal with minor zoning bylaw amendments and not minor variances. Minor variances would still be considered by the municipality's Committee of Adjustment. With minor zoning bylaw amendments, it would include the removal of a holding provision, along with consideration for temporary uses through a temporary use zoning bylaw amendment. So in my opinion, your worship, it would only deal with those considerations. And the effect of delegation to staff, what that essentially would mean is we wouldn't have to wait until a council meeting to schedule those actions coming forward. So in all, it would be much more timely in terms of those approvals being considered. Thank you.
That answers your question, Tom. Deputy Mayor Smyberg.
I concur with Councillor Lockie in terms of some of the questions that she had. I raised that at the last meeting. Just to Director Bancroft, I got the impression at the last meeting that this is something that might be evolving because we don't have all the pieces or all the answers yet.
Am I still correct in that assumption, or is something happening more quickly than I anticipate?
Through you, your worship. No, that's indeed correct. Deputy Mayor Spire, certainly it's an evolving situation, but at the very least warrants the need, in my opinion, to introduce that policy direction in the official plan. And, you know, that in itself will take a few months for the approval to come forward from Middlesex County. But you're indeed correct. It begs the question, what's the implementation framework going to look like? Because we don't have that information right now.
So, Mr. Bancroft, just so that I'm clear too, does this come from more recent bills, like, for example, 109? Is it under 109?
I believe so.
They're all-
There's so much information coming about from the province that it's very difficult to keep track of all these changes coming about, but I believe you're correct.
All right, thank you. So, are there any other questions from members of council? So we have the motion on the table. Can we proceed with someone to move the motion? Councillor Lockie, seconded by Councillor Heeman. All in favor? Yes. That's right. 11. I'm sorry. We'll let the clerk answer.
Bylaw 23, 2023 was voted on first, as Councillor Crockett had a conflict of interest. So all the remaining bylaws were just voted on.
Okay, so is that clear then what we're doing here? Would someone like to move that motion? Councillor Heeman? Seconded by Councillor Lockie. Oh, no, we already did it. So we're good. We're good. Just disregard that. Brain blip here. Okay. So unless there's anything else, the next meeting schedule is on the docket for Monday, the 27th of March at 5 p.m. and followed up by our meeting in Thorndale at the Lions Community Center on Wednesday. And please note that it's a Wednesday. It is not a Monday. April the 12th at 5 p.m. And again, to be held in the Thorndale Lions Community Center, 265 Upper Queen Street in Thorndale. All right. I believe then that we're looking for adjournment. Councillor Heeman, seconded by Councillor Crockett. All in favor? Thank you. And thank you to everyone in attendance.